and I think it's,
Oh my God, I thought I put the recording on it. Oh my God. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
yeah. But anyway, I think that's it's a good way of thinking about it. Is the reach is really a reach to establish relationships,
Yeah.
and the relationships are compatible. If the other cell has similar relations with the other cell, they
Right.
will form an alliance, as you said. But it's really a bonding
Yeah.
or a relationship that creates a different kind of structure, and
Yeah.
the structure is what reality is. It's the
Yeah.
structure
And
of the
I think that's the
relationships.
difference
Yeah,
when someone dies, right?
yeah,
What has left? Well, what's left
yeah,
is the parts are all there, but what's left is the relationship between them. All
yeah,
right.
mhm,
Um,
yeah, yeah,
so my one of my goals in this and is to, this is a fairly elaborate conceptual framework I offered or tried to, but I really want to do what I can to invite all of us into the experience of belonging, to be guided and resourced by the experience of belonging. And so I want to do one last go at an exercise to practice that. But what you said, I'm going to start with I'm going to share an experience I had. I about 6 years ago had a stroke, and it was what's called a transitory stroke, which means I had no permanent effects from it. But what happened was that I was on a trip with my wife to the coast. On the way back, we hiked in the redwoods, and we got in the car, and we're on the way starting back. She said, I said, where are we and what's happening? And she said something back, and I said that a second time, and she went, holy shit. So she called an ambulance, got me into the hospital. I barely remember climbing into an ambulance. And then I don't really remember anything in the hospital. And at one point I wake up and there's my wife, and I say, hi, what happened? And there's a lot of parts of this story, but to stay with what's relevant here. Well, so what she said was for 4 hours, 4 or 5 hours, that I was blank, I was unconscious. You kept saying the same thing over and over again. What you said was that you wanted me to know that you loved me totally and completely, and you wanted me to know, she's saying this, that my love was completely and totally received by you. And then you got to know my wife to know how cool this is. She said, she said, you were asking that over and over and over again. But before that, she said, you'd ask me to orient you. I'd orient you a few times, and then I gave up on that because it didn't hold. So every 4 minutes, you would say the same thing or something like that. And it's called a broken record, apparently. And so she says, at first it was kind of annoying because you kept saying it over and over again. And then she says, and then I got it. And then you got me, she says, then you got me. And I realized what you were saying was, this is what matters. This is the only thing that matters. This is what needs to be said. And this is the only thing that needs to be said. So at that point, there was like a melting that was marvelous. But the other part was, as I woke up, I had a, this is not a extra, this is my wake. I was awake. I was waking up. This is no, I'm not billing this as some sort of otherworldly experience or something like that. But what I had a sense of my center being in my solar plexus, and of my center and my solar plexus being the center of the universe. Except that I also knew that everything was the center of the universe. So it wasn't about being special. It was just, this was my center, but it was the center of my universe. And then I had the picture of, Michelangelo, not Michelangelo, Leonardo da Vinci's, the guy with his arms spread, and I had a picture image of that. And so it was like, this is the center of the universe. And from it, reaching out. And then I started thinking of my reaching out in my hands and my fingers, this pattern that you have in every delta, in the veins in every leaf, in the branches of every tree, in the neurons in the brain, in the veins of the blah, 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 blah. Just repeat it over and over again. That pattern is the pattern of everything reaching for everything else. And what I came to was that at least the intellectual conceit from this, notion from this, was that that's the fundamental architecture of existence. Everything having to be a self, enough to be a self, so that there is something, and everything reaching for everything else. So yeah. So why doesn't everybody get comfortable? And oh no, first you have to go like this, clockwise, then counterclockwise, then just relax and get comfortable. Javon, you didn't do that. This isn't going to work. All right, so get comfortable.
He's not trying to be teaching pet.
You don't have to breathe in any special way, but bring your attention to your breathing. And in some way, the theme of the whole class is how best can we experience our belonging? And that experiencing that belonging begins with experiencing life in yourself. And you might do that now. What are the vibrations or the energy or the heat or the rhythms that you can experience, that only you can experience? They're yours. Where you can know beyond any doubt that you are not a statue, but a living thing. And as my friend, the Reiki therapist, Michael, my mentor, taught me, before you touch someone with your hand, you enliven your own hand. It's an insult to touch a living thing with a dead hand. So its connection starts by enlivening and feeling the life in your own hands, whether it's a buzzing or a heat or however you experience it is yours. And you might see, so we're going to move this a little into motion. So we might see, if you were, is there some motion or movement that would go with you feeling, tending to, focusing, offering your loving attention to your core self, to the center and core of your unique personal existence? And then what is it like if from that place, from your deepest core self, and you can do this with a movement, but you don't have to, from that place, you reach out. You reach out to life in the world, to life around you. Which means you reach out. And then can you experience that the world receives you? Can you experience the world buoying you, holding you, nourishing you, resourcing you? Can you make yourself resonate with and permeable to life around you? And can you feel held in your belongingness, your rightful citizenship, membership, and belongingness in this planet, and in the way the planet resources you, but also in which it receives the gifts that you have to offer? And so if you've been doing movement or imagining movement, we've sort of been working on how does it move you to experience your belongingness? And that could be simply what happens to your hands if you reach out with your hands, if you send energy out with your hands. What do they want to do? So that's on the mini level with every breath. And then what if you extend that grounding in your belonging to your actions in the larger world that encompass your reach in life into the world? What if you stay connected with that guidance? What will it move you to do? And what would it be like to live your life in contact with and in ongoing experiencing and reception of that guidance as you steer your life in the world? I'm going to read a poem by Rilke. This is my translation of a German poem. I live my life in growing circles which stretch out over the things of the world. I may never achieve the last, but I will reach for it. I circle around God and the ancient tower, and I have been circling for 1,000 years. And I still do not know whether I am a falcon or a storm or a great song. I'm going to read it once more. I live my life in growing circles which stretch out over the things of the world. I may never achieve the last, but I will reach for it. I circle around God and the ancient tower, and I have been circling for 1,000 years. And I still do not know whether I am a falcon or a storm or a great song. So when you're ready, come on back into the room with this lovely group of people. And let's see whatever we want to share as part of winding up our experience together.